Welcome back to The Full View. We have been focusing on geopolitical tensions, the conflict in the Middle East, and of course the war in Ukraine. Let's bring it all home now, because Afrika Tikkun Services says global conflict threatens the local war on hunger. It says recent global conflicts are highlighting the need for South Africa to strengthen its food production capabilities and agricultural supply chains. Afrika Tikkun is a developmental agency operating across several townships in the country. To discuss, we're joined by Afrika Tikkun Services Deputy CEO Onyi Nwaneri. Ms. Nwaneri, thank you for being with us. Give us, the numbers are always just insane. Give us a sense of how many people are food insecure or sometimes going to bed hungry around the world and here in South Africa.
Yeah, thank you for having me. We indeed have quite a difficult challenge, given the war crisis that we've seen in the past with Ukraine and Russia, which is still going on, and now with Israel and Middle East. That has led to quite a difficult challenge from economic growth, inflation, and in turn, it has had a significant effect on hunger and food security across South Africa as well as Africa and globally. For example, if you look at recent stats in 2021, 139 million people experienced food security challenges, and of that, that is already up by 40 million the previous year. So we say that 1 out of 5, if not more, children go to bed hungry at night. We've seen this hunger and food security challenges influenced not just by economic shocks, but also by climate change. 23 million people have been affected by food security issues as a result of climate change alone.
When Ukraine, when that war broke out, there were huge concerns because Ukraine, of course, is a huge supplier of grain. Looking back, has it been as bad as expected?
Absolutely. We are already a country where we have one of the highest inequality in the world, where there is high unemployment, high poverty, and high inequality overall. We have majority of our population living at poverty level and below poverty level and moving into a welfare situation. Therefore, any war or crisis that then influences ability to import necessary goods and services, and South Africa is already a consumer nation, not a significantly producing nation. We consume more than we produce. It then goes and affects the people who are most vulnerable. And in the case of South Africa, high unemployment, high youth unemployment, welfare nation, high millions, majority of our population are on some form of an income grant. So it has definitely gotten really bad, hence the advocacy by Afrika Tikkun to make sure that more and more people are considering how they can become self-sufficient and become food secure.
Yeah, it has been said we are relatively food secure, but we do import some foods. Palestine certainly not sending us food. I understand we mainly get tech products from Israel, but I guess even here you have things like the oil price going up on the uncertainty affecting the transport of goods. So ultimately it all comes back home, as it were.
Absolutely. And because Afrika Tikkun works a lot in township environments, peri-urban and in rural areas, we see the impact of inflation on township economies is a lot more higher. And if you look at people who are earning minimum wage, and in fact, some less than minimum wage, that knock-on effect in terms of high petrol prices immediately translate into consumer goods. And if you look at the basket, the basket, majority of that basket in a low-income community or family is food. Hence, our argument that it is it is really not better. It actually got worse. And we believe that, no matter how much you look at it, even if the Israel and Palestine war is not directly affecting us from a food security perspective, as Afrika Tikkun, our real life experience on the ground is that people are immensely pressured from a food security perspective.
All right, final question. You look at youth development, it's always said, how do we get more young people into farming and food production? What are the obstacles that you're seeing and the successes that you're seeing on the ground?
As Afrika Tikkun, our main vision is to really enable young people become economically empowered. And we recognize that in order to solve the high youth unemployment, we need to ignite a number of things. We need to ignite interest in sectors that perhaps have been ignored, key sectors where young people don't see as what you would call sexy or interesting or exciting. And agriculture is one of those sectors. Yet agriculture is one of the sectors over the last quarters, if you look at the quarterly labor force survey, that has created more jobs. And so our job is, one, to create an interest in agriculture from early childhood, preschool, primary school, high school, into post-matric, and showing that agriculture is a lucrative opportunity for young people, not just because agriculture has evolved. Yes, there is hard work related to agriculture, just like any other industry, but it has evolved. There's agri-tech, there's value chain from the farm to the table. There are ways that you can add value to what you have produced in order to take it to market. And so our work with young people is to look at how do we help young people to understand where food comes from, to appreciate it, to love it, to get excited about it, but more importantly, to consider a career in agriculture, either in employment agriculture or entrepreneurship, which we call agripreneurship, as an opportunity for themselves.
All right, thank you so much. And hopefully young people are listening, and we wish you more success in what you're doing. That was Afrika Tikkun Services Deputy CEO, Onyi Nwaneri.